Ciao Juventini, Alberto here. I got all this morning's news around Juventus. Two things that just don't want to go away, but there's new proceedings, so we have to take a look at that, and that's Paul Pogba initializes the counter-analysis for the doping test, and we've got details on that. We'll take a look at what players should Juve have to terminate Paul Pogba's contract. Are they going to be looking at? We'll see that, and Bonucci unloads his side of the story in an interview, and honestly, it's all over the place, but we'll go through that, and Fagioli wins 2 awards yesterday, but is he going to be rewarded with a start against Lazio on Saturday? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is the AJC. Let's rock. We're going to kick things off with Paul Pogba. He has initialized the counter analysis. The date is set. September 20th in Rome is when the new test will go down. And then from there, we'll take the results and see where we move to. As for right now, Juve has put a halt on his salary. Okay, so a stop pay. He still gets the contractual minimal somewhere around 420,000 euros. However, if it was halted from here on out to the rest of the season, Juve would save 6.3 million euros. And then, of course, the rest of his pay in full for the next 2 seasons. But we have to wait for this test and see what goes down. Should Juventus get into a scenario where they have to terminate Paul Pogba's contract, who are they looking at bringing in? We've heard Habib Diarra's name again after hearing it all summer mercado, but free agents are out there. Papu Gomez is listed. Yeah, I'm reading that right. Papu Gomez. All right, I would take our new family kitten, Nina, over Papu Gomez, but that's just me. Look, Nico Schira says don't even think about it because Juve did not bank on Paul Pogba this season, all right? So they were not banking on him. They went in and feel that they have enough of what they need already on the roster. So Miretti, Fagioli, Locatelli, Nicolucci Caviglia, McKennie, Rabiot, that is enough according to Juventus and according to Nico Schira. So we will have to see. Do you think, and I've been asking this question a lot, all start of the season so far, 3 games deep, do we have enough insurance for Paul Pogba? I personally think some guys are going to have to step up, but we'll talk about it in a bit here. First up is Bonucci's interview, all right? So Bonucci's interview. This thing was all over the map, and he contradicted himself. Ultimately, I think this is a very, very bad look, and I understand when guys feel they have to share their side of the story, but I just don't know if there's anything to gain from it at the point where it was at. You would have been better off leaving it as is. It would have been probably better to just say, you know what? Myself and somebody there had differences of opinions on where we saw things. It's over. It is what it is. However, we just continue to delve into this thing, and Bonucci continues to just let it linger. He takes on a full interview, shares his side of the story. In October, all right, he says there was the renewal, the option for him to take, and he says both parties agreed to it, Juventus included. Keep in mind, at that point, we still had a management team, all right? Fast forward to March, that management team and the board, it's all dismantled because of the legal lawsuits through Prisma and Plusvalenza cases and whatnot. Now, in March, this is where it gets interesting because Bonucci contradicts himself. He says he had no idea that he was not going to be on the team for 23-24 season and whatnot, and that he was getting pushed out. But then, in the same interview, says he remembers being summoned in March to Allegri's office where he hinted at him retiring and starting his coaching path. So again, he's contradicting himself in the interview, and he does shed light that ultimately the relationship between him and Max was not what he would have liked. He says that it's because of the stance he had to take for his team and teammates and whatnot. And I can't help but think if that's him being the voice because of the frustrations and approach that we started to see several players talk about come the end of the season, veterans as well. And maybe that's it. But Max and Leo have always had a rocky relationship, and I think that's what it came down to, is you believed you were going to get that 23-24 final season, okay? Max ends up being the only guy in power because the whole management team is dismantled. He wants you out, and you just don't like it. Maybe more so because he's the guy doing it, all right? And the rumors of him sticking around and everything through the summer, and word on the street was Bonucci wasn't anticipating Allegri staying and still being the coach. He was hearing otherwise. Again, playing into the whole thing, Juve held job interviews for the coaching position, all right? It didn't pan out, and I think Leo took his chances, and he's pissy. It didn't work out the way he thought it was going to. Hey, the interesting thing is how out of touch Bonucci has become in this scenario, because he starts talking about the lawsuit that he's bringing up and then saying he's got nothing against Juventus and he hopes to one day embrace the fans again and potentially be a coach one day in return. You literally have a lawsuit against Juventus, even if the winnings are going to go to charity or whatnot, and then you're talking about the fans wanting to embrace you again one day on a return or whatnot. You're just out of touch, man, and you're not seeing how what you're doing is just pissing the fan base off more and more and more. I get it. You feel disrespected. You probably didn't like the fact of who the news was coming from. You probably didn't like the fact that Max Allegri was the one to push you out and you guys were battling. Nonetheless, you put a lawsuit on your team and then you want the fans to embrace you and forget about it. We've already forgot about things in the past. But one thing after another, you got to come to terms with it, man. It's done. Finito. Now, Fagioli yesterday winning 2 awards. Fair Play Award for 2023 and the Gentleman's Award in 2023. Earlier we were talking about enough insurance for Paul Pogba. Fagioli has got to step it up, in my opinion. Now this season, this next game, Lazio is the first measuring stick match of this season, all right? Miretti, Locatelli, Fagioli have to be huge for Juventus, okay? I know we haven't had Paul Pogba around a lot, but nobody can deny when he steps on the pitch, the level increases. And there's some there these other guys haven't been able to bring. Locatelli, his performance against Ukraine is what we need consistently. He has to be at that level for us. Miretti, he needs to step it up a bit. But Fagioli, I expect a big breakthrough season from Fagioli this season. I want him breaking the lines like Barella does, and I know he can do it, all right? But we need these guys to step it up, especially if we aren't going to be bringing anybody in. Who's going to get the start against Lazio? I think Fagioli will, but do not be surprised if Miretti gets the nod based on how he's been able to break the lines for Max Allegri's Juventus. Locatelli has to come off that Azzurri performance and bring the same level against Lazio. Don't forget, we're live Friday this time for that match day preview, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, because the game is early at 9 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday, and I'll be bringing you a live watch along. Guys, you know the drill. Let me know what you think about all the news today, and let's mix it up in the comment section until tomorrow, all right, when we are live getting ready for this game. Fino alla fine, Forza Juve.